Hello. This is Terry Edwards, Renegade Recruiter, and welcome. And of course, we're joined by our co-host Drew. How are you, Drew?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fantastic. Well, so real quickly, I just wanted to. I talk to recruitment and search firm owners on a daily basis, literally every day of the week. And one of the things that a lot of recruitment and search firm owners talk about is scaling their business. And what they're going to do about scaling their business is bringing in consultants. So today is about why everything you know about hiring a consultant is probably wrong. See, for most recruitment and search firm owners to scale their business, it's bringing in more consultants, with the goal that these consultants that you then bring in will do all the billing, you'll pay them commission, you'll keep the rest as profit, and you'll live happily ever after. The reality is that this is an area that, in my opinion, the majority of recruitment and search firm owners are struggling with. And what they tend to do is kind of take a leap of faith. And then what happens is they're getting their fingers burnt. And I'm sure you've experienced that yourself. Does that make sense so far, Drew?
Yeah, I mean, you get sort of the two groups of recruitment search firm owners who, so again, assume they actually want to bring in consultants. So you get some that don't want to do it at all, but the ones who do, you get the ones who, as you said, take a leap of faith, and they sort of do it and end up getting their fingers burnt. So again, you hear some horror stories about people who have brought in a team of consultants 3-6 at a time, and none of them have worked out. On the other hand, you get people who are perhaps solo recruiters or a smaller team, and they want to bring in consultants eventually, but they want to make sure they do it at the right time, and they're reluctant to sort of pull the trigger and make the decision and do it, because they know there could be significant risk involved, because again, like I said, they've heard all the horror stories as well. So they end up not doing it in actual fact.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, it's a problem that I had when I had my search business. And the question I constantly asked myself was, when is the right time to actually do this? I just didn't know. When is the right time to bring people in? And I've got to say, time and time again, I would get it wrong. And I spent a lot of time interviewing, meeting consultants for coffees, for beers, for meals, interviewing them. I spent a lot of time on this one area of the business, and I know this is a problem for lots of recruitment and search firms, and they still have the same problem today. And I call it the recruitment or search firm fantasy. Now, I'm not going to go into my own fantasy because that probably would be inappropriate, but here's a fantasy that most recruitment and search firm owners have, that they can bring in consultants, the consultants will hit the ground running, and they will be really, really successful. And it really is a fantasy, because here's what happens is they spend hours, I mean literally hours, sometimes days, interviewing consultants. And if you've interviewed consultants for any length of time, you know that a lot of them give you a lot of BS as well. So you kind of sit there hour after hour and listen to all the BS from these consultants, say things like, yeah, I billed £1 million last week, and that kind of stuff. And it's really frustrating as you're trying to dig out the crap and get to the truth. But you spend hours doing it, you think, if I get this right, it's going to be worth it. Then you spend thousands on salary, tax, insurance to bring in these consultants. And then you kind of do this. Wow, I hope this works out. Yeah, literally, you keep your fingers crossed it's all going to work out. And often it doesn't work out straight away, but you still keep your fingers crossed thinking, well, if I just wait a bit longer, then eventually it's going to work out. And the consultants will get the hang of it. And in most cases, we'll show you a bit later on, that isn't the case. Does that make sense, Drew?
Yeah, it does. Again, like it's a common problem. It's a common story you hear. A recruitment or search firm owner who has taken a leap of faith, brought in consultants. So it could even be like successful businesses. I'm not talking about necessarily struggling businesses, but in most businesses that have a team, they have 1, 2, 3 or more consultants who are underperforming and costing the business money. And they've been underperforming and costing the business money for some time. And it goes on for too long. Again, you always hear time and time again, I probably held on to that consultant for too long. It's a mistake that, again, it never gets old. It's something I hear, even like some of the most experienced recruitment search firm owners, they do it, and they get sort of emotionally attached to the consultant. Again, as you said, they're hoping it's going to work out. They're hoping that eventually they're going to come good, and end up holding on to them for too long, and it ends up just costing the business money.
Yeah. just got off the phone. I'm not going to mention the person's name, but I just got off the phone to a recruitment business. The consultant's been with her for, I think it's 11 months. And in that time, they've built 37,000 in 11 months. You want to look at the numbers there, because that consultant's probably it's costing her money. It's probably cost her 36,000 with salary, insurance, and everything else. But she's still holding on. She's still hoping that this consultant's going to come good. And there's a number of reasons why that happened. But here's something to consider. The majority of the consultants that you bring in will not work out. Now, as I say that, that may cause a reaction with you, but I'm sure you've heard of the 80-20 principle, or Pareto's principle. The rule suggests that 20% of all activities will account for 80% of the results. So, for most recruitment and search firm owners, if they bring in 10 consultants, 30% of those consultants will work out. So 2 or 3 of them will work out. I was talking to a guy probably about 6 months ago. He brought in 8 consultants all at once. His argument was, and I can see the logic to this, that if I bring them all together, I can train them all together, I spend the same amount of time with all of them, and his argument was that he thought that 6 of them at least would work out, and he'd be able to scale his business. The fact is, within the first 2 months, I think it was, he lost 4 of those 8 straight away, because they just weren't right for a number of reasons. One of them had a severe drink problem, as it turned out. Now, I'm not saying that all consultants have got that problem, but that's not unusual that individuals come and join your organisation and they've got some personal challenges. Let's put it that way. Some personal habits that perhaps don't help them in achieving their goal. Does that make sense, Drew?
Yeah, it does, and I think that, like the big point you make there. So yeah, they bring them in, and what happens is that the owner then has to spend time training them, training a new consultant. So even if it's just one consultant, they have to spend time training them up to a certain level. If it's a bigger team, it can take even longer. So actually, what you find is that although the fantasy is to bring in consultants and have them billing for the business, making the business money, they underperform, and top it off, the owner is then forced to spend time with the underperformers, trying to get them up to speed, trying to get them up to standard. So the owner's personal billings drop as well, because they're unable to spend time doing the things that they should be doing to get the business in. So the whole business, if you get it wrong anyway, the whole business suffers. There's an impact on the whole business, not just the area of underperforming consultants. It affects everything.
Yeah. And one of the things that I found when I was doing this is I was bringing in consultants and they weren't performing. I found that what I was really doing, I was billing to pay for my underperforming consultants, which when I sit back and think about it now, I think, I must have been freaking crazy. Why did I bloody do that? But that's what I did. And that's not unusual. There are a lot of recruitment and search firms out there. If they look at the numbers very carefully, what they're doing is they're working their butt off to pay for underperforming consultants. That isn't right at some levels. That isn't right at any level. However you do it. So but we get it wrong, and I say we because I got it wrong, and it suffocates your profits. It stunts your business growth. In some cases, it causes some business to go some recruitment and search business. Eventually, they go under because of this, because they persevere with these underperforming consultants who, quite frankly, have got no idea whatsoever. And there's a number of reasons for this. We're gonna look at it, so on. But in fact, let's go into that now. Most recruitment search firm most recruitment and search firm owners want to bring in a consultant with experience, someone who's worked in that field before, who's got a good track record. That makes sense. Intellectually, that makes sense. But let's look at the reality. Let me ask you this question. Why would a top-performing recruitment or search consultant who's doing exceptionally well wherever they are now leave there and then come and join you? If you go into that in a lot more depth, it doesn't make sense. If they're doing as well as they say they're doing, why would they leave all that? In particular, if it's on the interim contract side, why would they walk away from all that steady income that they're generating at the moment? Now, I get that during the interview, they're telling you that how exceptionally well they're doing. And they will say things like, well, I got made redundant. By the way, that's bullshit. If you've got a top performing consultant, would you make them redundant? If they're doing the numbers? Of course you wouldn't. It makes no sense whatsoever. But the logic says I've got to find somebody that knows how to do it. But if they're as good as they say they are, they're not going to want to join your firm. Especially if they're going to come from the, whoever they're coming from. If they're doing well, it's not going to make sense. Now, you'll say things like, yeah, well, we don't micromanage, or our commission structure is slightly better. From the consultant's point of view, if they're doing really well, it's still a gamble on their part. And if they are a real top biller, and you get that top biller, and you've then got the evidence, one of the things I'd encourage you to do is to get the evidence to support their numbers. When they come in, you then find it difficult to replicate the results they got at the previous company. And there's a number of reasons for that. One is they may have been a real good biller, working with 3 or 4 clients that gave them all their business. So in fact, they were great at doing the recruitment, but they didn't have to do any business development. And now they've got lots of time to do business development, they don't know how to do it. But when you looked at their numbers and they would have shown you all the evidence to prove that they build whatever it is they build, they were working with 3 or 4, maybe in some cases just one client, and they were doing all their business with that one client. So their numbers looked absolutely great. But what they were doing the doing of the recruiting, but they weren't winning any new business. Now, they can't bring that client with them because of the, gardening leave, off limits, call it whatever you like. So you've got to say to them, come and join us with a completely cold desk. Just sort of checking that what I've said there makes sense so far, Drew.
It does, and I think another point to make is, I mean, again, just to sort of build on the point that you said about that most consultants are good at the recruiting, but not necessarily at the business development. And again, when you think about it, again, logically, it's hardly surprising because that's one of the areas that a lot of owners find difficult as well. So chances are you're going to be able to bring somebody on who's better at that, or good at that, better at that than you are, or doesn't have a problem in that area. It's really slim, right? If they were that good at it, they probably would go and start their own business. I mean, that's sort of the logical thing to do. And secondly, like, if you think about, if you want to get an experienced recruiter, again, Terry made the point that why would a top performer join your firm? Again, there are always exceptions to this, but if you're not going to get the top performers, what you're left with is the people who weren't very good. And again, if you've worked in a firm before, so before you started your business, if you ever worked in a firm, you probably saw these people coming out the door all the time, who you were there working, getting your results, right? And you probably saw these people come into the business that you're working for, not work out, then leave, and so next month you were somebody else, right? You probably saw this. This is the candidate pool you are now being forced to choose from if you don't get it right. Right, this is who you're employing. The people who you know were like not bad recruiters per se, but were bad at the business development side, bad at the thing that actually brings the money in. That's the candidate pool you're having to choose from if you don't get it right.
Yeah, that's a really good point there. Really good point there. And I think the other point you made there is, and I was guilty of this as an owner of the business. I thought I don't enjoy the way I was getting business was cold calling. I don't enjoy the cold calling, but if I bring in other consultants, I can get them to do it, and all will be well with the world. But as you pointed out there, Drew, most recruiters don't enjoy the business development, and what they're really good at is the actual recruitment themselves, but they don't enjoy the business development. And
also, Terry, like the ones who do enjoy it, and the ones who are good at it, and like the real top performers, like what usually happens is they don't want to go and work for somebody else and get a fraction of the commission. They think, well, if I'm good at the recruiting and I'm good at the business development, I may as well go and work from home and do it all myself and get 100% of the commission. So this is all things that you're battling with. And you think about it, that's what you did. If you're an owner right now, right, that's what you probably did. You probably thought, well, I've got the skills I need now to do it. Rather than go and work for somebody else, I'm going to go off on my own. And that's what the top performers do. These are people that you want to employ. But unfortunately, they're going to go off on their own. So again, you need to do things differently. You need to look at things differently. Again, as Terry's going to go into in a minute.
Yeah. And just on that, you've made another good point there, Drew. I talk to solo recruiters who aren't doing very well. So they're saying, things aren't going too well, Terry. I'm going to go and work for another firm. Again, for you as the owner, you want to recruit that person who couldn't do it for themselves, but they're going to come and work for you. The reason being, you're going to pay them every week, every month, a salary or wages or whatever, regardless of whether they bill or not. So that's their thinking. Now, when you interview them, they'll say things like, "Oh, I didn't enjoy working for myself, and I'd rather work in a team." They're going to give you all that BS. Intellectually, it doesn't make sense. If they had their own business and they were doing well, why would you give all that up? It doesn't make sense, and you really want to be aware of that.
Again, just say, Terry, because I get comments saying, "Oh no, I want to do that." There are always exceptions to these rules, but we're talking about the majority of the time, and you have to look at. The reality of it. Obviously, there will always be exceptions. There will always be those hidden gems, but the majority of the time, these are the problems that you will face.
Yeah. And some time ago, probably 6-9 months ago, I did an online summit, and I had some of the industry's leading speakers on this event talking on this subject and how to improve the performance of your team. And two names spring to mind immediately. There was a lady called Alison Whitehead, who's based in the UK, and there's also a guy called Ross Clement, who's based in Australia. And I interviewed them a while back for this program I was doing, and they really impressed me with what they had to say on the subject. So, I'd certainly recommend those two guys. But at any level, you're going to have to accept that not all of your consultants will work out. Now, at some level, you're thinking, well, that's obvious. But I think a mistake that a lot of recruitment and search firm owners make is they assume the opposite, and they make big plans on the basis that everything will be plain sailing. But in most cases, it won't be. One of the things that we do with our clients at the very beginning, we get them to document and detail a well-defined goal of exactly what it is they want to achieve over the next 12 weeks and then over the next 12 months. And often they will talk about they're going to have this number of consultants, and these number of consultants are going to bill X, Y, Z. I don't want to sort of rain on the parade, but I have to say to them, you need to understand, if you've got 6 consultants, if you've got 4 consultants, there's a very good chance that most of them won't work out, and you need to be aware of that. And again, going back to the 80-20 rule, you're probably going to get like 20% of your consultants that are going to bring in most of your business. But you need to be really aware that it's not going to be plain sailing, because that life isn't like that.
Yeah, and again, I think if you haven't ever brought on consultants yet, or you haven't done it, you haven't sort of pulled the trigger yet, then you won't know these numbers. But I think if you've done it before, maybe you've been in business sort of several years and you've done it before, and you've had some that work out and some that don't, you need to know what the numbers are in your own business, because again, we're saying like maybe 20% will work out, but it will be different in everyone's, slightly different in everyone's business. You need to know, okay, for every 4 that I bring in, following a certain process, how many are going to work out, and you need to know those numbers so you can, I guess, evaluate the risk before you bring somebody on. Yeah.
And there's some fundamental things that you need to do before you bring somebody on. One of the things I get to do at the very beginning is get crystal clear about what it is you want to achieve. What's your goal? What's your desired outcome? And where's this business going? And if you get clear about that, get clear about things that you can measure and that are worthwhile. So often the client will say to me, one of my goals is, Terry, is to have 10 consultants. And they will talk about the number of consultants they want rather than the amount of profit that they want. That's as different as chalk and cheese. Now, you can have 1,000 consultants. Quite frankly, if you're losing money every week, every month, it's kind of pointless. So surely what your goal should be, this is a profit, this is what I want to this is the income I want to generate, and this is a profit that I want to make it each month and each year. And get crystal clear about that right from the very beginning. And I think you should be doing that before you even consider hiring anybody. Now, here's something that we'll come into that. The other thing I think you need to do as well is have enough cash in the bank, not only to fund the consultants, but also as a safety net if things don't work out. Because it may not work out. I wouldn't dream of sitting here telling you, yeah, you bring in consultants and everything's going to be fine. Honestly, nobody can make that guarantee. But what I would say to you is don't take the risk of bringing in people with no safety net, hoping that things are going to work out. By the way, I want full disclaimer here, I'm speaking from bitter experience, because that's what I did. I kind of thought, yeah, I'll bring the guys in and happy days. And, I really got my fingers burnt. One of the things I get you to I would encourage you to do before you actually bring anybody in is get some good admin support.
Yeah.
Around you. And I'm not saying that you've got to go out there and recruit an executive PA or anything like that. But certainly, even if initially it's a virtual admin support that's doing the I use the word in the nicest way, the grunt work, but doing the admin work that's taking up a lot of your time now.
Yeah.
And the reason is quite simple. If you bring that person in, sorry Joe, I'll let you come in a minute, but if you can bring that person in to free up some of your time, what that gives you is a bit more bandwidth to deliver on more assignments and win more business. So I'd say to you, are you working at capacity right now? And often, as a solo recruiter, most people aren't, because you're doing what I call the grunt work, the admin and arranging interviews. Well, bring somebody in to do that to give you to increase your bandwidth. Over to you, Drew. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, I think what a lot of recruitment and search business owners don't realise or don't think about, I guess, if they did think about it, they'd come to the conclusion that you're trying to sort of give now. But they don't realise that actually bringing in more consultants increases their admin. Right, even if they perform well, you're still gonna have your admin's gonna increase. So it makes a lot more sense, and actually financially, it's less. There's less risk involved if you bring in admin support first to not only to support you, but also to support the people that you bring in as well. So things like accounting, invoicing, again, as Terry sort of described it, the grunt work, things that, again, one thing we always come back to is the 80-20 principle. So there's going to be 20% of your activity that brings you 80% of the results. So that means that basically the other 80% of activity is only giving you 20% of your results. So that is really what you're going to be passing off as much of it as you can to somebody else. Things like answering the phone, as I said, invoicing, all the sort of admin work that needs to be done that's important but isn't the high revenue generating activities. So you want to get as much support as you can, and you can do that in-house or you can outsource it, whatever you do, to support not only you but also the people that you bring in as well. Yeah,
really good point there. So you've got to have that in place, and you've got to have here's a question that I ask recruitment and search firm owners probably every day of the week, and it's this: if I came to work for you as a consultant, what specifically do I need to do that if I do it, I will be successful? Now I'm going to repeat that. If I came to work for you, what specifically do I need to do that if I do it, I will be successful? Now, most recruitment and search firm owners say, well, you need to pick up the phone, you need to arrange some interviews, you need to get some CVs out there, you need to do some marketing. That's not specific. You need to work hard. What the fuck does that mean, work hard? You need to be really specific about this. So you need to be crystal clear. Example, you need to be speaking to 30 decision makers a month, every single month. You need to be asking this specific question. If you ask this question, you're going to increase substantially your chances of getting a retainer or getting an exclusive or getting a job order. If you're going to market candidates out, NPCs is what you're going to call it, this is the number of candidates that you need to market out. This is the number of people that what you should be giving your consultants is like the recipe. Yeah. Here's the recipe for success. So if I said to you, I'm going to show you how to bake a cake, so put some eggs in there, some flowers, and put it in the oven for a while. That's not a recipe. That's why we just throw things together. But if I tell you precisely what it is you need to do, and how many eggs you need to put in, how much flour, and how long you need to put it in the oven. Do you get the point I'm making here, Drew?
Yeah.
To be exact and precise about what it is. But most, i.e. 80% of recruitment and search firm owners that I speak to on a daily basis, they have no idea. And they've never detailed it. But here's the thing: if you don't know, how the hell can you expect the consultant to know? Because what you're doing there, you're making assumptions, or you're doing it on hope. Well, I kind of hope they know what to do because I bloody don't. It ain't gonna work. So you've got to be really crystal clear, and then you've got to have a clear system. Sorry,
Terry, before you move on to the next point, I think again, not only do you need to be clear on the processes that your consultants need to follow, you need to be following that same process, right? Because I think, although we may know up here intellectually the activities that you need to do in order to get the results that you want, sometimes because it's not written down, because it's not in a process, we don't necessarily do it every day. But it needs to be, again, you need to drill down on your numbers. What are the numbers in your business? Because one of the problems we have with people, like employing anybody in your business, is that you can't control their results. And you can't even really control your results either. What we do have control over is activity. we can control activity. So when you really drill down on your numbers, you should know this activity will lead to this result, or there or thereabouts. It might be slightly off, but you should never have a consultant coming in and not making any sales if they're doing the activity, right? So it should be, again, it could be a number of calls, a number of emails sent out, a number of LinkedIn invites sent per week, a number of whatever it is. There needs to be almost an exact science to get the result that you want. And you know that anyone that comes in who follows this process, does 10 LinkedIn connections, 10 whatever happens to be, follows this process, will get a certain result, or will be within that range to a certain extent, right? So, and you need to be clear on that for yourself, but also when someone comes in, you need to hand them a manual and say, look, this is what you need to do. This is the exact science to getting these results. And then you won't, or you shouldn't have the issue of holding on to a consultant for too long, or a consultant not working out, or if you do, you'll be able to see why. So the reason that consultants usually don't get the results is because they're not doing the activity, because they don't have a process to follow. But you'll be able to see from week one, has the consultant done the activity required? If the answer is no, then they're not going to get the results. After a month having done it, no, they're not going to get the results. If they have, you might get to the point where you can see them doing activity, but they haven't quite get the results yet. But you know, actually, they're at least they've got a full pipeline because they're doing the activity. But you need to know what that activity is for yourself and for anybody that you bring on. That goes for not just fee earners, but for every area of your business. I mean, we could talk for days about having the right processes and systems in place, but it's something that you need to have. You need to really drill down on your numbers, know exactly what they are, and you're handing someone a recipe for success in your own business.
Yeah, I think I want to repeat what you said there. Yeah, you've got no control over the final destination, but you've got total control over the action steps to get you to the final destination. That you can actually manage. And Drew's made a really good point there, and that's what you've got to be working on. And as Drew says, it means that you as an owner, you can manage your consultants and also yourself, by the way. Because and by the way, some good news, there are only 7 to 9 specific action steps that if you or your team take these specific action steps, you're going to get those results. So it's not a whole list of but some basic stuff that you're getting them to do. The point that Drew made there as well is that not only do you get your team to do that, you should be doing. So I had a conversation with a guy the other day, and he gets into the office every morning at between 9:45 and 10 o'clock, but he expects his consultants to get in at 8:30. Now, whatever you say, that isn't working. It certainly isn't working for him. You can't say to your team, "Yeah, I want you to do X, Y, Z," but I'm not going to do it. It's in particular in a small business, small B, less than. Sorry, Drew. In a small business, if you've only got half a dozen or so consultants, you can't manage your business like that. You can't say, "I'm going to wear flip flops and jogging bottoms to work, but I want the rest of you to come in business attire." It just doesn't work. But you've got to be crystal clear. Let's go back to the main point. But crystal clear about exactly what it is they need to do. That when they do it, they will achieve what it is that needs to be achieved.
Yeah, and I think, Terry, just digging in on your point that you have to do it as well. I think when it's your own business, especially when you're growing, right, when it's a smaller team, you have to be the leader. Okay, eventually you can maybe bring someone in or promote someone up to be the leader, but while you've got a small team, you have to be the leader. You have to lead by example. No one is going to have the same drive, determination, passion for your business as you do. Like, it's ridiculous to think that you're going to bring somebody on and they're going to be willing to do the activities that you're not willing to do. It's ridiculous to think that. You need to get that idea out of your head. Okay, there might be exceptions to this, but the reality is the norm is that you have to lead by example. If you want them to come in at 8 or whatever it is, you have to be there as well doing it. If you want them to make a certain number of calls, you have to be there as well doing it. When you get bigger, again, you can promote or employ someone else to be the leader, but you need to be the one who's driving your business forward. No one else can do it for you. It's your dream you're building. They're not going to really be the ones who have got the same drive as you. Otherwise, they would have probably started their own business.
Yeah. So let's just recap what we talked about. You've got to have enough money in the bank, so you not only to fund the consultants, but also as a safety net if things don't work out. You've got to have good admin support. You've got to have a system or process in place for your consultants to replicate. So what does good look like? What's the action steps they have to take? And the next one is a predictable marketing system that will generate sales appointments for them. So all they have to do is to talk to decision makers and to sell their services and then deliver on those assignments. Now, again, most recruitment and search firm owners, 80-90%, do not have a predictable marketing system that will generate leads. The consequence of which they have what we call this famine and feast. They get some business in, they work on that, and then they complete on those assignments, and then it's like, oh poo, I've got no business. But with a predictable marketing system that generates appointments, generate leads, so that all your consultants and you have to do is then sell. And think about this for a minute. Remember I said earlier that there's good consultants would like to join you because what you're going to offer them is not different from what they're doing. But imagine you could say to a top consultant, come and join us. You will never, ever have to cold call. You will simply have to call clients who have booked into our calendar or who know who we are. You only have to call people who are looking for the service that we offer. And your job is to, those people that are looking for a service office, is to convince them to use us. But there will be no cold calling. You're not going to sit there with a cold desk, saying, well, there's a cold desk, there's a phone, kind of get on with it. Can you see how much easier it would be then for you to bring in consultancy if you can offer them that? But you do need a predictable marketing system that will generate sales, generate appointments, so that all that your consultant has to do is sell. Anything to add to that, buddy?
No, yeah, sorry to say no, but I do. I mean, we touched on it earlier on, but I think if you're the owner and you have a problem around bringing in enough of your ideal clients, you can't really expect a consultant to come in and solve that for you. That's not what they're there to do. You need to be the one who solves that, and then you're just passing down the leads to them, if you so to speak, right? It's your business. You're the one driving it. You're the driving force. You've got to be the leader.
Yeah. So look, if you want to have a predictable marketing system that generates appointments for this, so you and your consultant, what they're going to do is sell. And you want some help in getting that, if you go to, and you're the owner or director of the business, if you go to terryedwards.com/speak, so that's terryedwards.com/speak, and you can book a one-to-one telephone call with me, and I will share with you exactly what it is you need to do to get to that situation, so you have a predictable marketing system that generates sales leads and appointments. So all you've got to do is to sell to those prospects, and all your consultants have got to do is to do that. It will completely eliminate the famine and feast. You will never ever have to cold call. You will only call warm leads. Now the only criteria, there's a couple of criteria. You've got to be absolutely committed to growing your business, scaling your business, and taking your business to the next level. You must be the owner or the director of the business. If there are other owners and directors, please get them to join us on the call. By the way, there's no cost or obligation for the call. We'll get on the phone, and I'll share with you exactly what to do, and I'll give you some tools, techniques, and strategies that you can implement literally straight away to start to get some leads in. But you've got to be the owner or the director of the business, and the co-owners must join in as well. You must be absolutely committed to growing your business. Go to terryedwards.com/speak. Go there now and book a one-to-one call with me. Anything else to add to that, Drew?
No.
Yeah. Drew, as usual, thank you very much for joining us. That was great. So go to terryedwards.com/speak and book a call. It is a one-to-one call with me. I look specifically at your business. You've got to be owner and director. You've got to be absolutely committed to growing your business. If you're not, by the way, don't bother. And I'll share with you exactly what you can do, so you can bring in consultants, so they never have to cold call. You'll never have to cold call. You'll generate more leads. You'll make more placements, and you'll increase your personal earnings. So go to terryedwards.com/speak. Drew, as usual, thank you very much indeed. Until next time, take care, take action, and be relentless. Cheers, guys.